Let's be honest, have you ever looked at those trendy pajama bodysuits and thought, there's no way I can make that? Well, today we are proving that thought wrong. This is about to become a gorgeous, stylish, handmade pajama bodysuit. And guess what? You and I were making it happen step by step. Here are all the pieces cut out: front, back, sleeves, cuffs, neckline. Oh, and did I mention we're adding fake plackets? And of course, the cute little ruffles. First things first, shoulder seams. This part's easy, so I didn't include it. If you need a deep dive into this step, I've got you. Check out my previous tutorial, but for now, let's keep the momentum going. Oh, the faux pockets. Sounds fancy, but don't let it intimidate you. It's just a neat way to fake a button opening. I've cut a piece that measures 4 by 1.5 inches and serged the edges to keep its rectangular shape intact. And since this bodysuit is for a 1.5-year-old, we're making it toddler friendly. No unnecessary buttonholes for little hands to fidget with. But the placement, that's where things get interesting. We need precision here. Now let's mark the center of the pockets and line it up with the center of the front neckline on the wrong side, right? This bodysuit is designed for a toddler around 1.5 years old, as I said, but you can easily tweak the length of the pocket to fit your little one perfectly, okay? I like to use plenty of pins to keep everything secure. After that, we will top stitch the placket on the right side of the front, right? Following the edge of the pocket we attached to the wrong side earlier. As you probably know, rib fabric is well known for its ability to stretch. So I make one straight line of straight stitch along the neck. This will help it stay put together until we add the neckline later on. Sew a straight stitch along this rectangular section. When you hit a corner, just insert your needle into the fabric, lift the presser foot, pivot your work, lower the presser foot, and keep sewing until you reach the next corner. Just repeat this process. And just like that, the placket is locked in. This part might feel counterintuitive, but trust me on this, we are attaching the neckline like bias tape, which means here's the counterintuitive part. Right sides do not go together here. Nope. We're starting on the wrong side. After I took my neckline piece and stitched it into a circle with a straight stitch along the edges, I'm aligning the right side of the neckline with the wrong side of the bodysuit. Yep, you heard that right. This is how we add bias tape into the neckline. Just trust me on this one, okay? Pin everything in place, making sure the right side is against the wrong side for the 100 million times. Then we'll head over to the sewing machine and sew a straight line along the edge of the neck. But hey, if you have a different method in mind, go for it. This is just the technique used for this trendy PJ design, okay? Confused? I got it. But stay with me. Once we stitch it down, we will double fold it over to the right side, covering those raw edges like magic. Including the raw edge of the pocket. As you can see, the right sides are lining up beautifully. Let's add some pins to secure everything, and then it's back to the sewing machine. You can either sew a straight stitch along the edge and then add another line of top stitching for that polished look, as I did here. But if that feels a bit intimidating, feel free to use any decorative or stretch stitch your machine offers. I usually start at the center back or right at the shoulder seam to keep my reverse stitches from showing on the front. Okay? Just this little tip for you. See, I told you it would work. Now, let's move on to adding buttons to our faux placket. It's super simple. Just sew the buttons in place by hand with a needle and thread. And now, the ruffles. I know. They look like a lot. But stay with me because this part is where we turn cute into adorable. We will be using a faux overlock stitch to finish off the curved edge of the ruffles just like this. Then I'll double fold it to the wrong side. Here's a little tip. If you don't have a serger, I don't. Just use a faux overlock stitch or even a simple zigzag stitch. No excuses here, we make it work, okay? Now to hold those folds in place, I'll use a wide running stitch with some thread and a needle. This makes it easier when I go to top stitch it on my sewing machine. While pins are an option, I find them a bit or a lot annoying. So I stick with the running stitch. It's a much easier fix. Trust me, I've tried it all. Oh, and by the way, this trendy pajama set is made from rib fabric, which is super duper stretchy. To prevent the fabric from stretching too much while sew, I use a walking presser foot. It's perfect for any stretchy or thick fabric because it feeds the layers through the machine evenly. There is a little bar that fits over the needle bar screw, and the presser foot works in sync with the feed dogs to keep everything moving smoothly. This helps prevent any uneven edges from stretching. I hope you didn't skip that and you found it helpful. But to summarize, it's really helpful for thick and stretchy fabric. Now that I have top stitched the curved edge of the ruffles, I'll take out the running stitch thread I used earlier. If you're thinking about sewing along, I'll drop a link to a free bodysuit pattern in the description below. Just a little heads up though, this pattern does not come with ruffles, so feel free to get creative and add those yourself. Next, we will create a gathering row along the straight edge of the ruffles. Just for reference, I cut my ruffles about 3.5 inches wide and 15 inches long for the size that fits 1.5-year-old. After folding the edges, the width is now about 3 inches. Now we're going to create a straight stitch for the gathering. You're going to create a straight stitch using the widest setting on your sewing machine. Mine is set to 4. And lower the tension as well. Now you'll be working with 2 threads, one from the bobbin and one from the upper spool. Just pick one and gently pull it until you reach your desired length, which is an 8 inches for me. To keep your gathering secure, tie a double knot at each side of the ruffle so it doesn't unravel when you attach it to the bodysuit layer. Next, I'll mark the center of each ruffle piece and attach that center to the shoulder seam on each side, pinning it in place. I'll do the same on both sides, making sure the right sides are aligned, okay? Attaching the sleeves is where things start looking real. I'll fold each sleeve in half and mark the center. Right after, we'll align it up with the shoulder seam. And just a very important reminder, the right side of the sleeve should face the right side of the bodysuit, okay? I'm using plenty and plenty and plenty of pins to keep those raw edges tucked out so they'll be covered by my stitching later. Now it's time to head over to the sewing machine again. I'll start by serging the edges with my faux overlock stitch, then follow up with a straight stitch about a centimeter away from the edge. We'll finish shaping the bodysuit by joining the edges of the sleeves and the front to the back. I like to start by matching the armpit seams and pinning the edges together. After that, I'll serge the edges again and then sew a straight stitch about again a centimeter away from the edge. And just like that, we're shaping this beautiful bodysuit into something wearable. And look at that. Everything is now beautifully attached. Right into working on the cuffs. Start by folding them to the right sides and pinning them in place. Once that's sorted, it's time to head over to the sewing machine for the 160 millionth time. Here is my go-to technique. I kick things off by serging the edges, then I follow up with a straight stitch. This method I mentioned earlier for finishing the edges of the bodysuit and sleeves. It's worth mentioning that when creating such piece, where the raw edges will be concealed within, you may choose to forego serging. While it's advisable by me to serge for a polished finish, it's 100% your choice. In this case, and just in this case. Next up, I'll take the cuffs and fold them in half, making sure the sewn edge lines up at one corner. I'll mark the opposite corner to keep everything nice and even. Now I'll mark the corners on the sleeves, just like I did with the cuffs. Mark the sewn edge in the other corner. With my pins in place, I'll stretch the cuff and attach it to the sleeve, matching the corners. You might have noticed that the cuffs are designed to fit a bit snugger than the sleeves. This is a deliberate choice that gives the sleeves that lovely, fluffy effect while keeping the cuffs nice and fitted. Plus, since we're using rib fabric, they will stretch just right to match the widths of the sleeves. Back to the sewing machine for another round of serging and straight stitching. It's super important to serge those edges. Really, I cannot stress that enough. Whether you're using a serger, a zigzag stitch, or a faux overlock stitch, rib fabric is very tricky when it comes to frames. So I cannot, cannot emphasize enough how crucial it is to secure those edges. We're almost there. To finish off, serge the lower edges. I'll fold the edge about 1 centimeter to the wrong side. And for the corners where the snaps will go, I'll double fold to create a neat corner for a polished finish. If you're curious about a different way to finish this part of the bodysuit, consider adding bias tape. I have a very good tutorial available that walks you through the process step by step. So feel free to check it out. However, since we're working with rib fabric, which is super stretchy, I think this method is the best way to go. If you have any other ideas, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. Heading over to the sewing machine and secure with a stretch stitch. Straight stitch? Not great here. This is a bodysuit. It needs to stretch. As you sew and get to a corner, don't forget to put your needle into the fabric, lift the presser foot, pivot, and then lower the presser foot again to keep going. Once you're done, make your way to the iron for a nice press and steam, and voila! You're almost there. I got you, didn't I? But wait, one last thing. This is not complete just yet. Next time, we're adding a bow because why stop at just adorable when you can make it extra adorable? And if you want the matching pajama pants tutorial, hit subscribe. It's coming very soon. Also, one last thing. If you like ruffles on babies' outfits, I really suggest you watch this tutorial where I made this cute romper and we embroidered the princess word on him. And with that, all that is left to say is that until next time, I see your beautiful, gorgeous, stunning face next time. Bye.